Hello, my name is Mike and this is Guns and Horsepower. Thanks for joining me for today's video where I do a 1-year update on Amazon's Kayme 6-layer waterproof car cover. I've been using this cover for almost a year now. I wanted to give you guys an update on how well it's performed and how it's holding up. I always use this car cover exclusively on my Mustang, and it's always parked in the same exact spot. I don't drive the car that often. I take it out about once a month and drive it about 2 to 5 days in a row, and then I wash it and put it back. So the cover's been exposed to the elements for probably about 300 days out of this last year. And the reason I always wash the car before I put the cover on it is it's got a felt liner underneath, and I don't want that liner to build up with dirt and debris and scratch the car and just rub it on, especially on areas where it hangs and droops over the edge of the car. So I always put the cover onto a clean car. Now I know you can wash the car covers. I did that with my previous car cover. It was a Covercraft. I followed the instructions. I hand washed it in the tub, used the right detergent. But after the very first time of washing it, I can tell that the cover was definitely a lot softer. It seemed to soften it up and weaken it. So I didn't want to do that with this Kayme, so I just always put it onto a clean car. I don't care about how dirty the outside gets. I just want the car to be well protected underneath. Now this cover has definitely lived up to its waterproof claim. It has kept the car dry and it has kept it extremely clean underneath. No dust or debris or anything gets under the cover. Once I put the car away cleaned, I take the cover off. It looks exactly like it did when I covered it up. So it works perfectly in those regards. The waterproofing of it is excellent, and like I said, it keeps the dust out. My previous car cover was a Covercraft. It lasted about 2 years before it started ripping, and probably about 1 year into it, I noticed that the dust would start settling through the layers, and I'd have a clean car when I'd put the cover on, but when I take the cover off, it'd be covered in a real thin, fine, kind of white grayish dust. After a while, it really wasn't waterproof anymore. It would keep out sprinkles and fine mist. Yeah, it would keep that out just fine, but a heavy rain would saturate that cover. It'd be soaking wet, it would hang from the car, the water would build up, and it would start having water run down on the inside on the car. So I'd have to take that cover off, dry it, clean up the water spots, and then put it back on. So when I bought this Kayme off of Amazon, I was looking for something that had a lot more waterproof protection and to keep the dust out. And like I said before, washing my old cover, I think, helped contribute to weakening it and allowing that dust to come through, because it really didn't seem to happen until after I washed it. So that's why I didn't want to do that with this Kayme. I always put it on a clean car to help retain its integrity. Let me go ahead and walk around the car and show you some close-ups of the condition of the cover after 1 year now, and it has held up quite good. The little side marker reflector things have kind of faded a little bit, but the cover looks pretty good, and like I said, it's performed flawlessly as far as keeping water out and dust out. Now if you noticed, I got some little black spots here and along the top. There's a few more. You can see there and there and there. Well, let me go ahead and explain that story, why those got there. One day I came out here and I opened up the garage door, and the neighbor's cat was up on top of that tent there, and the garage door scared it. It jumped down onto the car, ran across the top, poking holes all along the cover with its claws as it ran down the car. So right away I put some black silicone on it, as you can see, to seal up those holes so the cover would remain waterproof. And it worked. No water has ever gotten through on this car, and it has worked exceptionally well to protect the car underneath. Before I started filming this video, I had planned on giving this Kayme car cover my full endorsement, 2 thumbs up all the way, but something went wrong while preparing for this video. I had driven the Mustang for about a week now, and I had it parked out on the street, and it got really dirty, so I wanted to wash the car before I put the cover back on it and film this video. After I'd washed the car and started putting the car cover on, I got all 3 corners on, and I just had the one last corner over here in the right rear fender to put on. And as I went to go pull it down over the bumper, this massive rip occurred. It's pretty fragile over here. And then I noticed there's a couple other spots right here where it's starting to separate as well. So that was a big bummer. I've only had this cover, like I said, for about a year, and I expected to get a lot more out of it, at least a whole nother year. When I put the cover on, I usually take great care not to pull from one spot. I usually support it with one hand while I pull down, and I've done the same here. This was just unavoidable. The material was so weak, it tore, and then it started tearing here at the seam. Now this is the only part of the cover that is weak like this. If you go around to the other spots, you can tug on it and it's still rather strong. I mean, the whole cover is not brittle. It's just that one spot. I believe it has to do with the position that the car is in. It faces east, so it gets a little bit of sun on the hood and the front of the car in the morning, and as the sun travels on its path, this bamboo here partially shades the car cover. So not all of the cover gets exposed to full sun throughout the day, except for this back corner. Once the sun gets around the bamboo and is high in the sky, it beats down on this corner for probably about a good 7 hours every day. So this is the part of the car cover that receives the most sun exposure, and it has indeed weakened it right here. I plan on repairing this if I can, just to buy me some time until I can find a replacement cover. But needless to say, it's a huge disappointment. Everything had been going well up until this point. I feel like I put the car cover on gently enough. I don't think it was me tugging on it that had done it. It's just the material is extremely weak back here. As you can see here, I got these other spots, and it's not going to take much to rip those further. I don't want to do that because I plan on trying to repair this so I can use it a little bit longer while I try to find a replacement. I feel like there's a couple things I could have done to probably prevent this from happening so soon. I always back the car up into this position so that one corner is always exposed to the sun. I guess I could have rotated it and pulled it in forward sometimes and given this back half a little bit of break from that sun. Or I probably could have put a tarp over this back part to preserve it. That's probably something I'll do in the future with my next car cover. But other than this little setback, this car cover has performed quite well for its price point. I paid $68 for it. The Covercraft car cover I had before, I paid $30 for it. And like I said, it lasted 2 years, but it really wasn't waterproof or dustproof after about the first year. This Kayme cover has been all that. It's been waterproof and dustproof and keeps the car exceptionally clean and protected underneath. But it's definitely not built to withstand, I guess, high UV exposure. So in looking for a replacement, this is the 6 layer. I think I'm going to try to seek out something a little thicker, maybe the 7 or 8 layer. I know to get a real good quality car cover, they run well over $200, but I don't feel like you're going to get a whole lot much more use out of it. So in my opinion, I feel it's a little bit better to spend less, right around $70, $80, and just replace the car cover more often. If I were to get 2 years out of an $80 cover and get 2 of them, well, that's 4 years for $160, and I feel like even that $200 cover won't last that long, won't last 4 years by itself. So I feel like you're still coming out on top if you go that route. But yeah, I was all set to give this thing a full 2 thumbs up endorsement, but like I said, in preparing for this video, this massive rip occurred. Now, to sum things up, this Kayme car cover had performed exceptionally well up until this point. I was hoping to get a lot more life out of it, but it just couldn't stand that constant afternoon setting sun beating down on that corner. It was just more than it could take. Now, if I was able to provide it with a little bit more shade, it definitely would have prolonged its life a lot more than 1 year. So that it just wasn't made to handle that relentless Southern California sun. So I'm a little disappointed, to say the least, but that's the way it goes when you're buying low budget car covers. Well, there you have it. There's my video on my 1-year update on Amazon's Kayme 6-layer waterproof car cover. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found the information useful and informative. Please like this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and browse my channel for my other content. Thanks again for watching.